Welcome to No Life Tech Show. This is the tech portion of our show, an hour dedicated towards tech news, tech topics, and the inner workings of the technological modern society that we live in today. So last week's episode, you probably heard it if you listened to the gaming portion, got copyright struck. So we had to re-upload it, and it is now up. You can see it here, obviously on the website, nolife.digital. If you haven't seen our website, make sure you visit it. https://nolife.digital, and make sure you follow us at Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, at nolifedigital, one word. Let's just fucking jump into it. What we've been watching. Jessica Jones. Been watching Jessica Jones. Not very impressed with what's going on with this season, man. Not very impressed. About 4 or 5 episodes in. So that's about 5 hours worth of media that I've seen from Jessica Jones. And I'm trying to understand what made me enjoy the first one. And I don't know if it was the fact that it was Jessica Jones and the story behind it, or if it was just the fact that it was part of that universe that I was enjoying with Daredevil, fucking Punisher, all the other guys. Because this season, I don't like her. I just don't like who she is. She's kind of annoys me now. And I'm just not very impressed with what's going on. And if you watch it, you might have the same opinion. It seems like my opinion is not very unique. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be finishing this season. I want to because I like this universe. Like I said, I do like this superhero universe, but fuck, man. I don't know. It's kind of getting just fucking dumb. Like there's no enemy right now, and I'm 5 episodes in. There's nothing there.
I think one of the reasons why the original Jessica Jones was so good was what's his name? Purple Man. Like, he was such a good villain. He was so compelling, and that made you want to watch.
Yeah, the story was pretty good, and her as a character was kind of interesting. Her dealing with alcoholism and just being a bitch, but I think it's kind of like, okay, that shtick is up. You know what I mean? Where now I'm feeling as if she's just annoying me at this point.
There's no character development going on.
No, not really. Not really.
I mean, maybe it's suffering from the prototypical Marvel issue, which is first half is really slow and kind of boring, and then the second half picks up really high.
That's what I'm hoping happens here, because I am halfway through, and things are starting to get a little bit interesting, but at the same time, I'm not sure if I'm fully invested to finish it, but I might. It's something to watch. So
I had that same fear during Iron Fist, and then I never picked up. It was just bad all throughout.
Yeah. But Punisher was kind of like that. Kind of starts off slow, and then you kind of get deeper in. Same thing with Daredevil. So hopefully this kind of follows suit. But if not, then it's whatever. Like I said, there's no villain right now, and we're so far into this season. I don't know what's gonna come out of it. You got some, and there's other storylines involved that don't necessarily make sense in the grand scheme of things. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but there's just like, I don't know. It just, who cares about this? You know what I mean? Let's get back to the fucking story at hand here, which is the superhero shit. Do some superhero shit. So it's, oh my God. And then there's this one, okay, I will spoil something. There's this one scene where she meets the guy called the Wizard. And this Wizard is basically one of her, right? She's one of the tested upon. And he runs really fast. And he basically meets her and then runs away from her. And the CGI of him running is so bad, dude. It's like if I were to film DOOBIE running, literally, if I were to film DOOBIE running and then just fast forwarding it, that's what it looks like. Because that's
awful.
The dude kind of looks like you, not really, but kind of a little bit. And it's not done well at all. And that's kind of the point where I was like, holy shit, what is going on in this fucking season? But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Word.
Have you been watching anything lately?
I am all caught up on Dragon Ball Super. next week is the last episode. So the rumor was that this is gonna be the last episode, and then the future was who knows what's gonna happen with Dragon Ball Super. Which this last episode though, like the action, probably the best action they've had yet. Like the action sequences were really good. But now they're doing next week's the last episode, and then they're doing a movie, I believe, next year. And then there's rumors that after the movie, it's going to come back in 2019 and resume. So it's not the end for good. It's just like going to take a year and a half off, which is good because they're at like next week's 131 episodes.
Sounds about right.
Which for an anime that like, I mean, not a lot of animes like are doing that anymore. They're usually like 12 episode, 24 episode seasons, and then maybe you get 2 or 3 seasons and that's it. But these shonen anime just run forever, like Bleach ran
because
forever.
They got 12 episodes of actual plot and development, and then 170 episodes of
filler. Pure fucking filler.
Yeah.
Why is he
looking at me? He's looking at me back.
You gotta figure out how to get that 1 extra point on your power level.
Yeah, they're gonna spend 10
power
seasons
levels
on
don't mean anything anymore. It's so bad. Like Goku now has another form.
Without power, he doesn't need power levels. They're beyond that now.
They're beyond that now. This makes no sense anymore.
Right.
Like I remember when power levels meant a thing, and now it's just like, all right, Goku
have exceeded all my power levels.
Yeah, Goku goes, Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. Then there's Super Saiyan Red, which is God, and now there's Super Saiyan Blue, and now he's mastered.
What is more powerful than God?
Yeah,
Instinct
the super
is what the thing is now.
Oh, Instinct, that's right.
Instinct,
Yep,
Ultra Instinct.
Oh,
Mastered Ultra Instinct, where Goku now has silver hair.
oh.
Goku's got so many different hair colors. Like, I think he's shopping at Hot Topic.
So okay, now he has more power. He's already more powerful than a race, the Saiyan race that was supposed to be like the super powerful, and then he ate like 50,000 of them and is now
as
ultra
powerful,
super
more powerful
instinct.
than a god.
He's now more powerful than God himself.
Yep.
Which
now,
is his
the real
instinct.
question I have is, where do the Dragon Balls fit into this currently?
There are now super Dragon Balls that are the size of
course.
planets, and they can grant crazy wishes. And that's
So
what
now, okay, so now instead of getting a bunch of Dragon Balls, it's escalated from a bunch of Dragon Balls to you have to literally take over 9 planets.
And
Seven.
then after
You have
that,
7, excuse me. So you have to be Mecha Hitler and literally enslave at least 7 planets.
they're
to
not.
unlock
They're,
your
not,
next
they're not
form.
habitable planets. They're just Dragon Balls the size of planets. So they're just giant floating Dragon Balls in space, essentially.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure,
that's
dude.
where we're
Sure.
at
All
now.
right. Yep. Okay.
You know
Okay.
why? Because anime.
No, I don't.
Because anime.
they're just gonna. I don't know how much further you can go past God.
I don't know at this point what they're doing, but like this seems like it should be kind of the end, but it's not going to be.
They gotta.
Well, no, it's exponential. So you start with God, and now you need like God to the 1,000th power.
But
Yeah.
what if you exceed
Times
that?
10.
You can't. They're just gonna keep exceeding it because Goku has more hair colors he needs to fucking try out.
It's just
Yeah, I mean we got red, blue, silver.
know what the problem? No, know what the problem was? Photoshop came out. See, Dragon Ball existed in the land before the artist realized how there's infinite amount of colors. So now we need his hair to be every single shade.
The funniest part is there was a really old, kind of like the Sonic, the OC Sonics, where people make their own creations. Somebody kind of did that with a Goku that had silver hair. Now people are like looking back on that, laughing.
Well, he was ahead of his time. All right, what is this show Nailed It that we got up on here?
All right, Nailed It's a new Netflix original and joined the ranks of 80,000 other Netflix originals.
I'm all for him. Keep them coming, Netflix.
Dude, it's okay. It's what they do with their usual. It's a first season, so it's only 6 episodes or whatever. but I want more people to see this so we can get another season and a full season. Basically, it's a cooking show, kind of like Chopped, except it's baking. Everyone's coming and trying to recreate something they found on the internet or something like that, and they bring it in, and the point is you're supposed to remake whatever was found on the internet. So like examples are like emoji cakes, and they'll bring out emoji cakes and just get these 3 like amateur bakers to try to recreate them. But the kicker is they all fucking suck.
Yeah.
Like everyone on this show is terrible. Well, not terrible, but like they're not very good. And the host is amazing. She just basically like laughs at them the entire time. Like they'll just like lift their creation and just everyone breaks out laughing at how bad it is, basically. And that's the show. Like that's entirely the show. That the winner gets a $10,000 prize and they just shoot it at him with a money gun. Like it's fucking terrible, but it's great.
Actually, I might have to check this out now.
No, it's fantastic. Like there's little but like if you did, there's 2 rounds. In the first round they have to recreate something that like their guest judge has like made famous, and whoever does the worst on that gets an extra button that will be like a power, and some of the powers are like freeze time, which is standard, you know, like so all the other contestants have to freeze. The best one is Nicole Nags, who is the host of the show, and they just get 3 minutes where she just goes to the other contestants and just starts fucking just talking. Like like that's literally why she's the host, is because she's so annoying. It's fucking beautiful. Like she just like go like they're like one was like this like little white kid, and she's just going up like, oh, you single? Hey, so, hey, like, no, why are you doing this? Like, why did you do this? Are you, hey, no, really, are you single? Are you single? You got a special lady, huh? Like just shit like that for like entire 3 minutes.
Dude, when you said that you watch a lot of cooking shows, I kind of underestimated you.
Yeah.
You watch a lot of cooking shows.
No, dude, it's pretty great because literally all it like.
No, I want to. I definitely want to watch this.
They're so bad because like literally they'll just like lift it up and the 3 judges will just break out laughing, and like they'll just show them they're fucking terrible. The finale was one of the dudes from Super Troopers was the guest judge, and he just kept making fun of them basically. And they also their final what they had to recreate was their main judge, who's like, you know, a really good French chef and baker. He recreated Donald Trump's face, and they had to remake a Donald Trump cake.
Okay.
That looks like Donald Trump, and like this one girl's was so fucking bad. I mean, it was great, but it was like just terrifying, dude. It looked like Gollum.
I gotta check this out.
It's definitely worth it. Like we ended up binge watching it. Like thought we were gonna just like watch one and just like be like whatever. We watched the whole series.
Have you seen Ugly Delicious yet with David Chang?
No.
Yeah, David Chang. You gotta watch that one too. Now that you're done with this one, check that one out. It's a good cooking show.
Like this isn't a good cooking show, but it's definitely a great like comedy show.
I'm all for it, man. Comedy, food. I like that chick that I know you're talking about because they have images up. So I want to fucking watch it now.
No, she's great. Yeah. Like as the host, like she's fantastic, because also like at least 3 of the episodes they have to deal with booze at some point. So like by the end of the episode, she's just trying to get hammered. Like that's it.
All right. Last thing before we move on, I added a new section to the website. Forgot to talk about this. Doc Hunter. It's just me reviewing documentaries. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I want to kind of review some of them that I think are worth taking a look at. One just got released called Take Your Pills on Netflix, and I reviewed it, and it's actually pretty interesting. It's about the rise of Adderall in society, because Adderall is fucking everywhere these days, and it does a pretty good job of explaining the drug, explaining the social stuff around it, kind of debunking a lot of the things about it. Just go check it out on the website if you want to know my thoughts on it, or just go watch it. But it's a little bit reckless in its message. I feel like they kind of stray a little bit away from. They kind of romanticize Adderall a little bit too much in the beginning of the film. They don't really show a lot of the detrimental effects that Adderall can have on the psyche. Because if you think, how oxycodone and Percocets, how they are basically just synthesized heroin, well, Adderall and Ritalin are basically just synthesized meth. So they kind of touch upon that a little bit, but also, they're speaking to like financial leaders of the world at Goldman Sachs, they're speaking to professional athletes, they're speaking to some like pretty successful people who regularly take this drug. And it's hard to see, you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, well, what's wrong with them taking this drug if it improves their performance, it improves their wit, it improves their cleverness, and it makes them a shitload of money. You know what I mean? Like they don't quite hit the message on the head at all, really. No, they do a little bit, but check it out. Check it out if you're interested in drugs. Going to be one of the first things that is going to be put up on the drug section of the website. All right, let's get into tech news. NVIDIA is patenting new stuff for cards that don't exist yet. NVIDIA announced RTX technology, real-time ray tracing acceleration for Volta GPUs, and later, in conjunction with Microsoft's new DirectX ray tracing API announcement, today NVIDIA is unveiling their RTX technology, providing ray tracing and acceleration for Volta and later GPUs intended to enable real-time ray tracing for games and other applications. RTX is essentially NVIDIA's DXR backend implementation. Now, I'm still not entirely sure what ray tracing is. I've heard about it a lot throughout the years, but I don't quite know what it means.
It's all about the God rays, dude.
Is that what ray tracing does? Give you some nice God rays? So it's basically just for light.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it seems their ray tracing technology that they're going to be releasing allows their GPUs to do it on the fly. Is that right?
I don't know. I'm not that far into hardware, software design like that for cards. But like, I don't know, it's more interesting to me that they're coming out with new technology that's apparently only usable on cards that don't exist.
Don't exist. Yeah.
Like, okay, cool, dude. Like, I'm hyped, but like,
can we get the hardware?
All
now?
right. Yeah. Can we get the card? Like, is this the biggest tease in the world? Like, can we just get the fucking card?
Well, if they show an image here, mind you, it's just an image. Real-time ray tracing, the holy grail for lifelike lighting, reflection, and shadows. Realism beyond traditional rendering, replicates behavior of light, used in movies to render offline, too demanding for real-time. Quote, until now. And this fucking picture looks so real.
Yeah, no, like it's the idea of this is you can basically make just HDR for video games 80,000 times better.
Yeah.
Because you could get the lighting to be proper.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually be able to show that, like,
and then run it
sick.
Real time.
Yeah, if only we could have a card that could do that.
What they're gonna do is they're gonna release 5 iterations of the GTX 20XX, and then finally we'll get something else with this stuff in there. This will probably be a what is it called? A Titan, not a Titan, a Quadro card thing, right? That's what I'm assuming. Or do they plan on putting this into?
I have no idea, dude.
I would assume that this would be quad. I mean, dude, look at some of these pictures, man.
I think it is more for rendering, yes, but like,
but
so
it
it
is
would
real
be kind
time.
of Quadro, right?
It
So
is
like
real time.
the hope is if you could, the main use case would be Quadro cards for now.
Yeah.
But the hope is if you enable developers to actually have access to all of this stuff with the hardware to actually do stuff with it, it could just be a standard feature in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, it would probably be available on all of the cards. It would just be, if you really wanted to work with it, get a Quadro.
Right. They have support for Microsoft, Unreal, Unity, Frostbite, Algorithmic, EA, Remedy 4A games. So, EA's working with it. Okay, moving on. The AMD hit CTS Labs responds to allegations of bad faith over AMD CPU security disclosure, digs itself a deeper hole. So I was reading some of this before.
It's a shit show.
So is this is the same type of thing that happened with an Intel?
No. Well, for the most part, even still, we're not even entirely sure what everything does, because
Like, is this a hardware issue like Intel's?
it is a hardware issue. But that's where the confusing part is. It kind of is, but it's been, dude, the fucking reporting on it's been fucking hit or miss through everything, because the company who's disclosed this has done it in such a fucking shady way that very few people have the actual what they found. Very few people have like the list of things they found.
Now, what I found too was that CTS Labs dropped stock off. Like, they sold stock before announcing these security flaws. Correct?
Right. And from what we can tell, though, the security flaws are real. But also from the white paper is basically where a lot of their issues that they've pinned down comes mostly from a secondary chip that's basically it would be like a bus controller. Right. It's from a specific ASMedia. That's it. It's a specific ASMedia controller chip, which AMD uses a lot. But what's weird about this is these chips aren't limited to AMD.
Right.
Like they're literally like they're still on some Z370 boards, like even current Intel boards. And if the actual major hardware flaws with this ASMedia chip, that needs to be more documented. Mm-hmm. It's not just an AMD thing. No, that's affecting a lot more than just AMD. That needs to be told if that is the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If CTS Labs has accurately characterized these flaws, the problems in ASMedia controllers affect millions of Intel motherboards worldwide going back 6 years. In the early days of USB 3, before Intel added its own native chipset support, ASMedia was one of the most common third-party providers. So it's basically a bus controller for 3.0, USB 3.1, 3.0 host controller thing.
Right.
Which is on a lot of, I think my motherboard has a ASMedia chip on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So that's why it's like, we need to know more about this. And it's probably not just limited to just AMD, but basically all they've done so far was basically do a hit. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of because from what I've been able to tell through digging through it is some of the security flaws do need to get checked out. Like they're crippling, but most of them that I've heard of, you still need root access, so it's not like the end of the world. But like no one still really even has like the list of the actual work they've done because they've handed it out to so few people for validation checks.
Yeah.
And then like they just made a huge white paper saying, oh yeah, it's all this, and this, and it affects AMD stuff when apparently it affects a lot more than just AMD stuff. And they gave them a day. That was the other big thing is with this is they notified AMD 1 day before they released all of it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's the crazy. Fuck out.
Earlier today, we covered news that previously unknown security research firm CTS Labs has accused AMD of 13 serious security flaws within its products. If these security flaws exist, it's critically important AMD deal with them immediately. Nothing about their provenance or the process by which they were communicated to the press changes that, but we'd be remiss if we didn't note the perplexing nature of how they were communicated. And this is the big problem with it all, is the communication between it all. And then you see how they kind of dump stock before the announcement. Which I want to find so we can show you. This is here by Motherboard. Can AMD vulnerabilities be used to game the stock market? A shady financial firm tied to bury and short sell AMD based on several security vulnerabilities discovered by CTS Labs, but the tactic appears to have failed. So essentially, if they find the security flaws, which is what this company is hired to do, it's a security researching firm, and they disclose it in a manner that hurts the stock of the company, then they can short the stock. It's meant to short the stock, which is super shady, man. That's super shady. Good thing that you need. A good thing it's not like Meltdown was, where.
Well, it could be. Like it is from what I've been able to tell, it is actually kind of bad, but most of them that I've seen, you still need root access, so it's nowhere fucking close to as bad. You can't even get to Rise and Fall anymore. that thing got gone in like a day, which is even shadier, but sure, dude. I can't even see the white papers anymore because it's just fucking it's gone. And now they had to set up a second website to get to their fucking white papers.
God.
It's a fucking joke. Which is like the shittiest way to actually approach a security flaw.
Yeah.
Like a security flaw needs to actually be disclosed in a way that's proper so people can actually get working on it instead of just like, hey dude, I have a really cool name for this. So, we're going to do it. Like that's like literally the biggest problem that a lot of people are having with these guys is they're like, hey dude, we found 13 critical security vulnerabilities and backdoors that affects only AMD, even though it's on a ton of boards. Also, we came up with the names Rise and Fall, Master Key, Fallout, and Chimera. They're really scary. And that's basically all they fucking disclosed after giving them a day.
And what's interesting is everything around it seems to be, it's meant to short the stock. Maybe these don't even exist.
No,
you know?
I think they do exist.
But
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do exist.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be that far out if a company like this, you know what I mean? If they said, hey, look, we found some of these security flaws. We're not going to release too much about them. Maybe they aren't as serious as they are, as they mean to be. But if they just keep it very vague, then they can bet on how the stock is going to fall and short sell it on that. And it seems here, security researcher Arrigo Trulis speculated that Viceroy and CTS labs were profit sharing for shorting, while Facebook's CSO Alex Stamos warned against a future where security research is driven by short selling. Short seller-driven vulnerability research is going to end in tears, hopefully due to lost money and not because naive researchers go to prison. So this is just a shit show, man. It really is.
Because like the actual flaws themselves are there. Like if there were, like how they actually could be used is actually really detrimental. They're actually really huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of them is basically like you can just put malicious code on it. But what also other people I've heard say is like, yeah, you need root access. So that's not as big of a deal because
that's two different things too. That's a two different big difference in the way that you would
basically
attack,
basically if you need root access is having you're at the computer and you know all the passwords. You have full access to the computer. If you already have full access to the computer, who the fuck cares that you can suddenly install malicious code in a way that's undetectable? Guess what? Anyone can do that if you have fucking root access.
Right.
Like, so if it requires root access, it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal in the sense that like, hey dude, if someone's got root access to your shit, you're beyond fucked in the first place.
Yeah, and someone's gonna
like it's past the point of this is the thing you gotta worry.
There's a lot easier ways for them to rip you off with root access than to install malicious code into your fucking BIOS. Whereas if you don't need it, then they can basically get to you from wherever. They can attack you from wherever, and that's two very different scenarios, and we don't know which is which because they haven't disclosed it all, and they're betting against it. They're specifically holding this stuff back to short sell the stock, which is crazy. That's fucked up. Hopefully we get some answers soon. It does sound like a hit job. That's what it does sound like. In brighter news, ASRock might be making vidya cards ASRock. I don't necessarily have any strong opinions either way about ASRock. I don't think I've ever owned an ASRock product. Have you?
Yeah. I don't know. I've personally, I'm been completely fine with everything I've owned from ASRock, but I've heard horror stories from some other people. So they have a hit or miss reputation, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything I've ever had from them's worked great because I also don't. Well, I don't just beat the shit out of my computer for fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. True.
But I mean, no, the computer on them right now is an ASRock motherboard, and it's been great.
Yeah, they always have
So,
good
I mean,
prices. They're always pretty solid prices.
That their main, I like their main branding. Like not necessarily their logo, but most of their motherboards are just white and black. And yeah, yes, please.
Yep.
Instead of all the stupid weird colors.
Yep. Yeah, I don't need fucking purple and orange on my goddamn fucking motherboard. But that's cool.
But, I mean, I would be interested because that would be a decent. That could definitely be a decent budget vendor
Yeah.
if they do stuff right. Because I mean, like when it comes down to it, there's also been tons of weird, crazy news in video card market world with all that Nvidia shit that's supposedly happening or not happening, depending on who you ask. But no, like if there's another decent budget video card maker, that'd be great. Because like right now, the only top tier video card makers are like EVGA, Strix, the Asus ROG stuff, and like a handful of others. But like the way most of them go is like MSI. They have a really good series of cards, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like not that any of them are bad.
They're all
like,
priced pretty high.
But like
too.
for like a top tier card, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna get way more out of like an EVGA SC2 in general than like an MSI Armor.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's much better fans and heatsink on it.
Yeah.
So like it would be cool to just get another decent vendor in there to try to push more competition.
Yeah.
Because also, what if any of that that Nvidia stuff was true? We might need more video card manufacturers.
I thought I heard somewhere that Razer is looking at making cards.
That would be interesting. I'm terrified, but
Would you buy a Razer GTX?
I mean,
it probably look pretty.
Maybe.
Yeah,
sure,
it probably
dude,
look nice.
I'd buy a 1050. I don't know about like a 1080 Ti from Razer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not now, but give them a few years. Let them reach up to EVGA levels, and then we'll talk.
But like, I don't know. Because like we might need more video card manufacturers because there's been all those rumors with. Well, have you heard anything about those? Apparently, depending on who you ask, Nvidia is trying to push a program that signs exclusivity to a line.
Yeah.
So like Strix would just be Nvidia only.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do that supposedly for brand recognition. Because when you go to the store, you can't tell the difference between one box being super fucking red and super fucking green.
Yeah, their partner program, GeForce partner program. I think that's what they're calling it.
Yeah, GPP or whatever.
So I don't know. I don't understand why they feel the need to do this. I mean, I guess they're just trying to squeeze as much money as possible out there.
Yeah, they have the power to do that, to be able to pull that off right now. This isn't a play for right now. This is a play for cool, dude. We got a monopoly in 5 years.
Yeah, that's essentially it. Because if you're a fucking Asus, you're making Strix cards, or your EVGA, you're making the SC2s, some of the best cards out there, top selling cards out there. And then AMD or Nvidia come and they're saying, you have to sign an exclusive deal with us. You're probably going to go Nvidia because they sell so many more cards.
But it's what's weirder about that too is it's for that brand. So it would be Strix is now, GPP. It's only Nvidia. like Republic of Gamers would only be that, which is
So they could essentially have the Strix under NVIDIA and then the ROG
Right.
under AMD.
right. But like, what? That's such a bitch because those brands, you know what I mean? Like, I remember when Republic of Gamers came out like 7 years ago, and we thought it was the biggest joke. Like,
Yeah.
at least I thought, I was just like, that's the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard of. And now they're making good things with it. Now it's a respected brand. Like, it takes 7
They're still
years.
ugly
You know what I
as
mean?
all shit.
Oh yeah.
but
like-
yeah, they make some nice shit.
But like, think of how much money they had to push through there, and how much time it spent to make that brand a brand anyone cared about.
Mhm.
And now, if your brand's just gone, you have to now make another new brand and give it 7 years to just sell your AMD shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of people upset about it, consumer wise, because you don't want a monopoly if you're a consumer ever. You always want, essentially with it branded that way, I could see how it's not as bad, but still, it doesn't make much sense why NVIDIA feels the need to do that, because they're already killing it. They're
Yeah.
already, like, I'm sure they're way surpassed their quotas. I mean, they've been the top seller this year alone. They've killed it.
yeah, like, I don't know, dude. It's interesting. And I mean, the only things I've heard against that coming out have just been NVIDIA PR, which doesn't bode well to me either.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the other thing of that whole thing, that the NVIDIA PR that they've released is like, we'll be transparent, and they haven't been. That's never a good sign.
Right.
But it wouldn't be as bad, but I just also think like it could get really bad, because like, 80% of consumers, they're just gonna buy the brand they know. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's how it goes. Like, you don't do a ton of research, you just buy the brand, And now if your brand's only one thing, like, well, rip that other card.
Yeah,
Or that
and
other
like
brand.
the last couple of years have been awesome for competitive markets. I mean, AMD started coming in and really swinging. They're not there yet, but they've made a ripple in the market for sure, both on enterprise and in consumer electronics. So essentially, I guess NVIDIA just doesn't want that to happen. They just don't want it to happen, which
Yeah,
makes
and, like,
sense. It makes sense
that's
in
also
the business sense.
That's also like bad too, because then like Intel's been making a push for like having a graphics card in a couple of years. So like, are you trying to squash that out from the start? Like, no, dude, I want more competition. I don't just want Papa NVIDIA and Mama AMD.
Yeah. Any time when you get into this where they have these monopolies on these chips, it's really difficult, because still at the end of the day, there's not that many companies. I mean, there's NVIDIA, AMD. That's it.
Yeah.
They're the only ones making these GPUs. They're the only one with enough know-how, experience, money, longevity within the industry to actually do it. You can't really just start up a company and say, let's start making GPUs. It just doesn't work that way.
And
so it's really
then
difficult.
Then you get into the condition without competition where we're at right now, where you're like, oh, cool. NVIDIA's putting out patents for cards that technically don't exist yet because they have literally no reason to ship them. So we're not going to see them until they have a reason to ship them. But hey, no one's competing with them. So
they're just going to wait. You're just going to have to fucking wait till whatever they want to do. And they're going to incrementally update you, You're not, because they don't have any competition. So they're going to release the tiniest increments and charge you full price for everything. The consumer always loses in this situation. And unfortunately, there's not much you can do about it because it's such a niche, difficult industry to get into. But hopefully we see something from Intel. Hopefully AMD starts to pick their game up.
Yeah, that's why AMD was so cool with CPUs recently. It's like, hey, Intel all of a sudden had to make a 6-core processor you could actually buy,
and released
and
it
4
before
cores with hyper threading. What's this? What world is this?
Yeah, and released it immediately.
Yeah,
it was immediately out.
Instead of for the last 6 years of, hey dudes, we got this new chip that's 3% better.
Yeah, And then 4 years later, get another one. That's 6% better, hopefully. Oh yeah, I'm getting a not found on this article here. Page not found. Let's see if this works. Oh, I see what happened here. Microsoft offers $250,000 bug bounty to prevent another Spectre meltdown fiasco. Get working, dude. If you know how to do this shit, that's a lot of fucking Skrilla, man. That's a dope bounty.
Pretty much.
That's
If you know C++,
super dope.
go for it. If you know machine code, go for it.
Yeah, start working.
Hey, dude, go for it.
Yeah, someone's gonna fucking figure it out and get that dough. That's pretty cool. This is what I would do. If I knew how to do this, I would find the fucking bug, and then when I went to them, I'd be like, I have the bug, but now I want $500,000, and I want it by tomorrow in my account. If not, I'm publishing the bug tomorrow everywhere, and they would fucking pay you. Okay?
Yeah, and so would the FBI.
Well, you got to do it through. You got to tell them
the SEC, whatever.
You got to tell them to pay you in Bitcoin and do it through,
Yeah.
an encrypted email or something. Okay, the Facebook Cambridge Analytica story is just fucking gigantic and crazy. So Facebook stock plummets amid Cambridge Analytica scandal. Cambridge Analytica is a company that the Trump administration used, other administrations used it as well, to basically have data about polling, right? So they're a massive data company, one of the best in the world. And essentially they teamed up with the Trump administration and they were polling everything. They have data on literally anything you can think of. And they've been engulfed in a lot of scandals recently because they're not just a data company, as we find out. They're doing other things, doing shady shit. And it just came to find out that Cambridge Analytica essentially was misusing the data that they were received. And they were also, the story here by CNET has a good explanation of what else they did. Where is it? I gotta find it here. So an undercover report broadcast in UK by Channel 4 on Monday showed senior executives from data consultancy firm Cambridge Analytica offering to film politicians being bribed and circulate the videos on the internet in exchange for cash. They also offered to use Ukrainian sex workers and companies employing ex-spies to help dig dirt on political candidates. Cambridge Analytica has been the talk of the town recently with the Trump win because everyone wanted to know how the hell this happened. And this is the reason why they've had very close ties with Steve Bannon. And they've admitted that they've talked about their relationship with Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon and Cambridge Analytica had a very close relationship with each other. And you can attribute Trump's win to Cambridge Analytica solely. They knew exactly where to go. They knew whatever polls that the quote-unquote mainstream media had were just bullshit. They knew that Trump was swinging certain areas. And what they were doing with the data was targeting these areas through Facebook. Now, this is where the Russian collusion comes into play. But they were targeting these areas with Facebook to put out fake news. And now we're finding out that they were also bragging to people that got caught on camera here in this story about, bribing politicians, sending over sex workers, trying to get them caught up in shit. That way they can swing more tides in these swing states or in these swing areas. Now, swing states are normally known to be certain states like Pennsylvania. There's a couple other ones. But what Cambridge Analytica knows is that that's not always true. It's not always concrete. And this is what happened during the election. A lot of these states that were essentially going blue would go blue or they would go red. And they were able to figure out, okay, Trump, you need to go here, here, and here because this is where your swings are, unbeknownst to the left, unbeknownst to the mainstream data that we have out there. The normal swing states aren't always that way. So it's just this huge fucking conspiracy to essentially get this politician to win. Now, were they working with Russia to propagate, foreign propaganda? I'm not exactly sure. I don't think anyone knows this yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, I'm sure they had some hand in it. I'm sure. But this is crazy because now Facebook basically said, okay, no, we're banning you from Facebook. Cambridge Analytica no longer can be using the site. They're no longer getting our data, which is a fucking pretty big thing. But what happens is that because Facebook relies so heavily on advertisements that their stock just plummeted. I'm not exactly sure where it's at today. Let's check it out. Never a good idea to purchase stock in Facebook. Let me just recommend that. So about 10, that's a little bit of a, yeah. So about 9:30 a.m., I guess right when the market's open, it dropped from about 185 all the way down to 176. So it's pretty fucking big spike. And then it just kept falling. It's stabilizing now around 175, but not looking good for Facebook stock. But that's okay. That's okay. As long as they start to clean up their act and they start ridding of all this fucking propaganda and getting all of these bad conspirators out of their site, I'm sure their stock will grow again, because Facebook, you got to remember, has some of the largest user base that any app has. I mean, billions of people use Facebook. So
all of that stuff's so much harder though than I think people realize.
What, capturing data?
No, like getting rid of bad actors and bad ads.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like that is so fucking difficult. It's
like
insane.
How?
Like, okay, Google alone on average already. Okay, just to give you an idea of how many ads are going through, stuff like that. By themselves, they're getting rid of 100 ads a second, and that's only based off of ads that have malware.
Yeah.
That's the level you're talking, like, of scale that people are trying to like be like, it's rubles, you know, like, kill me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I don't know how they are going to be able to do this. I don't know how, because I am 100% certain that Cambridge Analytica knows that this would happen, right? They probably planned for this, and they probably already have other companies that are already using that data. So it only makes sense for them to kind of just pivot to a different sort of shell company that owns some sort of thing in Facebook. And
no, dude, it's all on Vote now.
They're all moving to Vote. Yeah, it's crazy, man. This is a crazy story that it just never ends, man. This Trump administration is insane. The politics around it are insane. The levels of collusion and corruption that we're finding is insane. And then you bring into the whole Russia thing. It just gets crazier and crazier. It's super fun to watch, but also a little bit scary. The fact that just so many people are swayed by just seeing Hillary Clinton's face and just the levels of animosity that it drives sales. It just like they know this data and they're able to utilize it to make themselves money, their company's money, their clients' money, and now we're seeing that they're even getting into entrapment here, which is crazy because they don't need to do that. I don't understand what end game is for Cambridge Analytica. They must have some sort of financial tie to this administration for them to succeed.
It's the same that like.
It must
Cambridge
be a
Analytica's
shitload of money.
Thing. Yeah, no, it is a shitload of money. It costs a lot to buy an election, dude, for both sides. Like, I mean, they've been doing this for like 12 years now. And for some reason, every time they've basically won.
Yeah, they know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, so like, that's not going to be cheap. That kind of surface where they're like, hey, dude, we can hand you an election.
Yeah, it's insane. I want to know how much. That I really would think that'd be interesting to know. It's like, how much is it worth to basically have that type of power? It's got to be priceless, man. There's got to be something else involved. Like they're getting something else in this situation, sort of power play.
I was generalizing on those years. I don't know how long they've been around, but you know what I mean.
No, I think they've been around. I think they've been around for a while because I remember hearing about them during the Obama administration. But it wasn't only until recently with Steve Bannon that they started coming out into the light, because obviously Steve Bannon's a very polarizing figure. But at the end of the day, man, when you see fake news on any platform, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything, you need to really take into account like the motive behind it. Why is that fake news being presented to you? Because you might not realize the fake news might be a reason for you to argue against something. You know, it might specifically be there because it is fake news to persuade you to do something or to purchase something. And you don't even know. You wouldn't even know because it's all done subconsciously. And they have data on you. You know, Snowden just came out today talking about Facebook. Let me get his quote up.
That, and there's a 70% chance that it was written by a human and shared by you.
Yeah.
Most of it's not shared by bots.
Nope. I mean, there's bots out there, but trust me, a lot of it's human. You know, it's just people that are just unbeknownst to propaganda. That's the reason why it's called propaganda. Edward Snowden, Facebook is a surveillance company rebranded as social media. It's crazy how much shit Snowden gets done and he can't even leave where he's at. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, well, did he hear, wasn't he talking earlier today or something of that, like, that he's claiming Russia faked their election and he's got proof for something. So I don't know how long he's going to be around.
Dude, who knows if he's even still there, dude? He might have snuck out some way, man. It's crazy. Yeah, who knows? he might get some nerve agent shot into his neck.
Most people who are like, hey, dude, I know my country faked their election and my country's a shithole, usually aren't around the next day is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's usually how things work in those kinds of countries.
And this is all a testament to just how new social media still is to the human psyche and how we're just not attuned to it yet. Or not, many of us aren't attuned to it yet. You know, there's a lot of people who just weren't born in an era where they're just constantly berated with fake news. So the younger generation, they can't tell the difference between what's real and what's fake. The older generation just thinks, you know, everything's real. So it's pretty difficult to maneuver around, but I'm sure we'll get there. Oh, here's his tweet here. Businesses that make money by collecting and selling detailed records of private lives were once plainly described as surveillance companies. Their rebranding as social media is the most successful deception since the Department of War became the Department of Defense. Pretty intense statement there. Now, I don't necessarily think that all social media companies are surveillance companies, but we need to make sure that they don't become surveillance companies.
Oh yeah, no, none of them started out as that, but like definitely kind of became that because I mean, why wouldn't you? That's where your money's coming in. It's not coming in from your stock, dude.
Yeah. Yep, they're just selling all your fucking data. This is another crazy story. Uber halts self-driving test after a pedestrian killed in Arizona. Woman was killed Sunday night in Tempe. A female pedestrian was killed after being struck by an autonomous Uber vehicle in Arizona, according to ABC 15. In response, Uber has pulled all of its self-driving cars from public roads in the state as well as in cities of San Francisco, Toronto, and Pittsburgh. The crash occurred near Mill Avenue and Curry Road on early Monday morning in Tempe, Arizona. Police confirmed the Uber vehicle was headed northbound when a woman walking across the street was struck. The woman was taken to the hospital where she later died from her injuries. Early reports suggested that she may have been a bicyclist, but that was not the case. Police identified her as 49-year-old Elaine Herzberg. Uber confirms,
and it's happened.
Uber confirms that the vehicle was traveling in autonomous mode with a safety driver behind the wheel during the crash. That would make the pedestrian one of the first known victims of a crash involving a self-driving car. Is the safety driver legally liable for this accident?
And welcome. I'm sorry. First off, I'm sorry for your family to the victim that was lost. But this is literally what everyone's been waiting for. Like in the world of self-driving cars. Because it's going to happen at some point. Now welcome to the mainstream's going to have a discussion and everyone's got to try to actually figure out that problem.
Yeah.
Of the problem that's never been fixed. Do you kill the driver or do you kill the people? It's literally been a problem for forever. But welcome to it.
Who do we fucking put the blame on? The safety driver or the car?
Exactly. Yep. Who did we put the blame on? It was the best way to put that because that's what I was thinking all day.
What we have to do now, this is what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to put a camera in these cars.
They have like 30 of them, dude.
Well, they need to put one on the driver. That way, if he's fucking sleeping and shit, well, then it's his fault. If he's there and he's trying to fucking turn and the car's not letting him and then he strikes a pedestrian, well, then you could blame the car. I also I mean, I'm in Philadelphia, and there's fucking bike people all around and pedestrians all around. They're just trying to get to where they're getting to, man. And I can understand if someone kind of just jumps out in front of you, and how anyone, let alone a fucking self-automated driving car, would be able to
they're like
react in
deer,
time.
dude.
Yeah, exactly. And this
Like,
poor woman.
and I say that as I'm the deer.
Yeah.
I do that a lot more often than I should, but yeah, it's like.
But you're also
sometimes,
a young, nimble man. Where this woman, she's 49 years old. She's probably not as nimble as she used to be. She ain't moving out the fucking way, dude. She's getting decked by this car. This is going to be super interesting. Do we stop all self-driving cars now because
that's
one
the fear.
person died?
That's the fear, because that's what everyone's been worried about. It's like, because
it was gonna happen.
I'm interested to see how this goes, because like the statistics behind it could be it's still going to be way safer probably, but
Right.
do we just halt all of that innovation now that one person's died?
Right.
And I feel like I hate talking about it like that, because I do feel very bad for that person. It's not something to be like celebrated.
Yeah.
But like, how many? I mean, in the time I've just said that sentence, at least 30 other people have died in a regular car.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Like,
and of course, it's an Uber car. Right? It's not a Tesla. It's not a fucking Google car. It's Uber's fucking car. Dude, this company can't do anything right. Their car fucking nails someone.
They just finished that lawsuit with Waymo, even, and then this happens. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're in Uber and you're at the top executive positions, man, you need to think about getting the fuck out of this company. It seems to just be bad luck. I don't know. You can't, because that's like saying this one gun killed one person, so we have to ban all guns. You can't do that. It's got to be illegal. You can't just destroy an industry and innovation because, unfortunately, something happened. But then again, you're dealing with a robot, and people kind of have certain feelings about that, It's going to be difficult. It's going to be, this is what the self-driving autonomy industry is going to need to do. Hire a shitload of lobbyists. You're going to need them. If you want this industry to survive, you got to play just like big tobacco, big pharma, all these big companies that have tons of deaths on their hands. There's going to be people that get struck by these cars. It's going to happen. It's definitely going to probably happen less than, normal human error. But still, you don't have.
I mean, that's what's got to be figured out. You know what I mean? Because like I do think that it will happen way less.
Me too.
Because honestly, since this one story has come out this morning, I guarantee that's happened to about 50 other people.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And
like,
this
how
was
many
one
how many
car.
people are killed by drunk drivers every day?
Maybe just not let Uber have them. Maybe just let Tesla and all these other companies have them. Because Uber is bad luck. If there's someone driving a fucking Uber automated car, I'm staying away, dude. I'm not crossing the street if I know it's an Uber, just because they got the bad luck on their side. Yeah, but that's crazy. We're gonna carefully follow that story. I want to know more. I want to know where that goes. I want to know who gets sued. This is an interesting study. Tiny percent of Reddit communities spark major conflicts. So, where is the actual numbers here? So at the heart of the findings was the discovery that a mere 1% of the communities on the site were responsible for 74% of all the conflicts. That is not surprising to me whatsoever. That is super funny, man. That is super funny. That vocal minority, dude. They are a loud bunch. And they will absolutely... There's just that 1% of the population that just want to see the world burn.
And then that 1% will start even more drama by saying like subreddit dramas, like just that. Hey, if subreddit drama can do it, I can too.
Yeah, that's super funny. Spotify's creating voice control. Spotify's experimental voice control feature is an excellent end run around Siri. It's basically just for driving. I think that's why they want to do it. Just you can change your songs while you're driving, and they want to get around Siri.
Yeah, I can see why they'd get around Siri. Okay, sure.
Yeah,
sure. And also that might make it so you can actually use a HomePod.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, that'd be more interesting, I guess, because I don't know, dude. I'm waiting for fucking Samsung to just finally splinter off and make their own operating system that they seem so hell-bent on doing.
With Bixby.
Yeah, dude. Like,
Just call it Bixby.
They-
there you go. It's got
yeah,
name
no,
brand
like they
recognition.
have to be. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who else has just been like, yeah, dude, we're gonna make a shitty voice assistant. We're gonna make a shitty clock, calendar, settings app. You know, literally every single app that goes into an operating system for someone else's operating system, and then never make your own operating system.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Samsung is going to be the one.
And it's gonna suck. I hate to be that guy, but it's gonna suck.
All right. Now this is interesting. The Verge audiophile AirPod review. I talked about the AirPods before. I love them. I think they're an excellent thing. I do most of my listening on the AirPods, not because they sound the best. I have headphones that sound way better, but it's just there's a liberating thing about these little fucking things in your ears. But that being said,
it was Vlad Savoff, who I trust a lot with headphones.
yeah,
I'll throw that out. Yeah, no, he's a great writer
yeah,
and reviewer. Like, I followed Vlad for 9 years because he's also a great phone reviewer. He used to do a lot of the phone reviews through Verge and Engadget.
yeah. No, he's a fucking great reviewer. He's just very honest about his shit, you know, which is what you want in a reviewer. And he seems to really enjoy the AirPods, you know, same kind of idea that I had too. You know, it's not really the sound quality. They have good sound quality. The sound quality is not bad. The price is justified by its convenience and how well it's integrated into the iOS system. The fact that I can just put them in my ears and then listen to a podcast on my phone, but then quickly jump over to my iMac or my MacBook, it just makes that so much more enticing to use, because with normal Bluetooth headphones, you got to constantly fucking press the thing and then pair it. And then, you know, with a wire, you're not wireless. You're attached by a wire. So there's just a little bit of an extra pizzazz that the AirPods kind of have on top of pretty good sound. But that said, they fit in my ears very, very well. And that's not everyone. And I know people have big problems with earpods fitting in their ears. So if you're one of those people, you're not going to have a very good experience at all. Another thing about them, there's no noise canceling feature to them. And if they're not in your ears perfectly, then you're going to get a ton of noise coming in. So you have to test them out. You can't really just buy them and expect them to be perfect for you. Also, Apple is going to be releasing their own Bose QC35 killers, which I'm super interested. They're probably going to use some of Beats technologies, some of their production line. I guarantee you they're just going to be rebranded Beats.
I would hope, because like, why the fuck else did he buy Beats?
Yeah.
I mean, other than the fact that Beats is the major seller of all headphones and when it comes to wireless, because I wonder why.
Well, Beats also
has nothing to do with getting rid of a headphone jack.
Beats also their new top of the line headphones are pretty damn good. They're not as bad as people make them out to be.
No, I don't think. Well, okay, I think in the audiophile community, at least, it's never been that they've been bad. It's just that they're bad for the price.
Oh, for sure.
That's what the complaint's always been, because like they are good headphones. They're just marked up $200 because of branding.
Sure. For sure. But I would always counter the audiophile community, because there's headphones that are just because of the brand, they can charge $2,000-$3,000.
Oh yeah.
You know, much higher. But then you're talking to hobbyists about their hobby, so it's difficult to kind of make.
No,
them see
I mean
that.
you're completely right. Like that's why I'm using these at the moment. Because I bought them for $50, and they're basically as good as MTX 150s in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But like at the same time, sometimes I'll buy way more expensive ones and I'll love them. But like, it's diminishing returns once you start going above a certain price, and that's what Beats are basically.
Yeah. Don't you wish that a lot of more industries were like the headphone industry? Like, I feel like the headphone industry's just got it down right, man. Because you have so many different levels of purchases that you can get into, man. You can get up to $4,000 or $5,000, or you can get really good 15
levels.
Yeah. And also the small business aspect of it, you know, the guys who charge $200-$300 for awesome headphones, but they can only make, you know, a couple hundred of them.
It's almost like you have this wonderful standard that's been around for 35 years that you've been able to perfect instead of just getting rid of to replace with 8 others.
It's called the W1 wireless fucking headphone chip. All right. All right.
So one of the other 7 standards.
So yeah, AirPods it's a thing that people everywhere have now. So if you have an iPhone, I do suggest you check them out. Make sure they fit in your ears. If they don't fit in your ears, don't fucking buy them. I repeat, if they don't fit in your ears perfectly, where they don't fucking move at all, then don't buy them. There's other headphones you can get that are just as good, that are wireless, that you can get that'll fit in your ears. They'll sound way better.
Correction, return them, because I don't know about you, but I'm not fucking throwing in earbuds on the shelf of fucking Best Buy in my ears.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
So buy them, and if they don't fit, return them instantly. How about that?
Don't, or if you can, try like your mom's or your friends or something. Apple might be making their own micro LEDs for mobile devices. Hundreds of Apple engineers are experimenting with micro LED tech in new panels. Apple's reported taking a big step in making its own displays and isn't using the current technology you may be most familiar with. According to Bloomberg report, a secret facility in California close to Apple Park houses engineers developing micro LED displays for Apple mobile devices. While Apple has been making its own chips for its mobile devices for a few years, this would be the first time the company has attempted to build its own displays. Micro LED technology is still in its infancy, particularly in its application in consumer electronics. We last saw micro LEDs show up in Samsung's gigantic 146-inch The Wall TV, which everyone was freaking out about. Micro LED is pretty dope. It's basically, it tries to do what OLED technology is, combined with extreme resolution, so you can have super high res images at a very small scale or a very large scale. Obviously, a larger scale is going to be a lot more expensive because you're having a lot more LED, you're having a little bit more power. But a smaller scale, like a watch, like shown here in the image, makes a lot more sense, or in a phone. So that's cool. If Apple can make their own anything, they're gonna fucking do it, because that's Tim Cook does, dude. He just wants to. That's what he lives for. It's just fucking figuring out production lines, man.
Pretty much.
He lives for this shit. And he's good at it.
It'd be
He's
cool.
good at it.
Yeah, it could be really cool. Like, if they could actually advance micro LED, that would be dope.
Yeah. I don't know how much further we're going to go with TV technology, man. We're getting to a point where it's just so good. It's just so fucking good. TV technology is another industry that I'm super impressed by. They just keep getting better and better.
Wow, competition.
Wow, see what
that whole competition thing.
See what competition can do. Whereas the fucking GPU market. Wow, Nvidia, good job again for giving us 5% for $1,000.
Computer market just makes me want to bang my head on the wall sometimes. It's like it's the same thing. Like, if you bought a HomePod, fuck you. Like, that's when you're at that point where, like, you just buy something because of the brand. Fuck you. Just no, get competition, please. Like, we need all the companies, not one.
Apple's next big thing could be high-end headphones to rival Beats and Bose. We already talked about this. It only makes sense for them. Again, they're just gonna try to tackle that market.
And that would be dope, because I hate Bose. Like, I don't like Bose.
You don't like, for what reason? Just the way they sound or look?
I haven't tried like any of the newer ones in a while, but like for a while they're like they're mids. They had great mids. That was it. And I never understood the hype.
They're very blah to me.
Yeah. And like and it's not like in a reference type blah. It's just like we really pumped up the mids, and like, I don't get me wrong, I love mids, but like it wasn't balanced well. It was just like overwhelming amount of mids, really shitty highs, really shitty lows.
Yeah. No, they definitely don't do low end right either. I would say their noise canceling Bose QC35s are great, but get the Sonys. They're way, way better. In my opinion, way better. The sound's way better, more dynamic. The noise canceling is excellent. It's got so many awesome features on it. They're not as comfy, which might be a thing, but they look better. So there's that. And if Apple releases them, they're going to look good. They're going to have great sound. Apple does excellent sound quality in all of their devices. So I'm interested in it. I'm interested in how much they're going to be. They're going to have to be cheaper than They're going to have to be cheaper than $350, $400. If they're not, I'm not buying them. The Sonys would be just fine for me. And plus, you got the AirPods at $150. Kind of cannibalize those sales. Last, before we get into crypto and then we're out of here, world's largest SSD clocks in at 100 terabytes. The Nimbus Data Exadrive DC100. 100 terabytes. Company says it utilizes 3D NAND flash memory, which can provide enough capacity to store 20,000 HD movies or 20 million songs if people still download music, and is capable of read and write speeds of 500 megabits per second. That's fucking crazy. We don't have a price here.
Oh no.
Let's
Got
see if we
50
can-
grand, dude. Holy shit, dude.
Let's see how
this
much.
This isn't something you buy. Okay.
Yeah, no.
this isn't something you buy. This is like, hey, dude, we built it and we made it. Here's like this is the show car. You know what I mean? This isn't for sale.
All right, so let's see how much a Samsung SSD is for 1 terabyte, right? About 300. We'll say 300. We'll like give them the benefit of that. We're gonna say 270. So we do that times 100, and you're spending at least 30 grand, almost 30 grand for an SSD. It's crazy how much we can store though in an SSD nowadays. That's insane, man. That's pretty cool. I wonder if it's any bigger or any smaller. It's got to be bigger, right? It can't be 100 terabytes in a small little SSD form factor. No way.
That's what it looks like.
That's insane, man.
2.5-inch drive.
Remember fucking PlayStation memory cards? They only held 8
Yeah.
megabits. 8 megabytes. That was it. 8. And they were this big, dude. Well, that's it. All right. Crypto talk.
That's just fucking insane, dude. That is the show car. Because like the other thing too is like if you actually have to store that much data on a server, you wouldn't buy this. Even if you had that much data, because like you can get 100 terabytes from just regular hard drives for maybe a couple grand.
Dude, think about that.
Versus
and then
30 grand.
putting it in like RAID. Like just multiple 100 terabyte SSD in RAID. Like fucking petabytes just in a small fucking little RAID box. That's crazy. For like
Yeah.
500 grand. That's how much it would cost.
would just not give a shit about programming then. Like, I mean, I would program everything myself without giving a shit about how big it is. Like, what's the why would I use different data types? I'm just gonna use the biggest every time.
We're gonna get there, dude. We're gonna get there, dude. You're just gonna have to fucking load it up with those assets. All right. Bitcoin and Ethereum and the whole crypto market has been falling drastically, but rising back up since the last video I made 2 days ago on my Instagram. If you want to follow me, you can follow me over there, and I do a lot of crypto talk there. But basically what happened was there was this trustee from Mt. Gox, which we all know was that exchange that went under and essentially kind of evaporated. The trustees got these Bitcoin, massive amounts of Bitcoin. We're talking shitloads of Bitcoin. And he sold $400 million of them off. Well, we don't know if he sold them. We just know he moved the money. We don't know if he moved the money or the Bitcoin to another account. We don't know if he moved the Bitcoin to someone. We don't know if he sold it on an exchange. We don't know anything about it. We just know it moved from one place to another. And that drastically affected the markets. It's kind of scary because there's this thing called the 51% attack, which is essentially where anyone who owns 51% of the Bitcoin basically controls the market. It's basically a manipulation tactic. And it's not 51%. He doesn't own 51%, but it was enough of a move to completely destabilize the entire cryptocurrency market. You couple that on top with Google banning crypto ads because there was a lot of, just bad ICOs. There was just a lot of bullshit going on in advertising cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. Google put a stop to it. So that hurt the markets as well. So what you saw was a big free fall from around 9 grand to around 7-6. I think it was as low as, $6,500 at one point. Not exactly sure, but it was pretty fucking low. And then it has since grown back up. It's right now, Bitcoin's sitting at 85, 89, 78. Ethereum took one of the biggest hits, falling. Let's see where we were at not too long ago. So around March 5th, we were around, $800, $900. It has since fallen all the way down to $500. This is like pre-swing days. This is pretty bad for Ethereum. And I don't see it stabilizing anytime soon. I see it either falling back down even more. And that's pretty much it. Ripple has pretty much crashed down to 0.7. IOTA, luckily, has been growing tremendously since then. And this is what I find the most interesting is IOTA seems to be separate from the entire crypto market. Whatever the market does, IOTA necessarily follows suit. But in certain situations, it doesn't. And I think it has to do with this technology. It's really a use case-based crypto coin, meaning a lot of the people who are funding IOTA, who are backing IOTA, really have... they're really going long on it. And it's because the technology behind it just makes sense and it's something that people can understand, the whole Internet of Things idea. So it has been growing since a little bit of a dip. It's at 131 right now. It's still not reaching the numbers that we saw them at long ago, but it's getting back up there pretty steadily. So hopefully it keeps growing because I'm pretty long on IOTA, still pretty long on IOTA. And Ethereum, I've already cashed out almost. I'm already cashed out on my Bitcoin and Ethereum. I want to say like 80% of all of the crypto that I used to own, I do not own anymore. So I'm due for a buy-in pretty soon. I just don't know when or where I want to buy in. I'm probably not going to buy Ethereum right now. I'm just a little worried, Bitcoin, it's always tricky as well. Not touching any other coin. Not touching any other coin right now until I see what's going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this is not financial advice. This is just we're just chatting, man. We're just chatting. Let's see, any other coins doing anything weird lately? Not so much. Steam has been interesting lately to watch. Same as Tether as well. Tether had a huge crash, which looks like market manipulation, if you ask me. It looks like market manipulation. I can't even show you on the graph. It doesn't even show up here. So you can see there's like 1 day dip. Seems like a dip and buy. Pretty interesting. Oh, and also we saw that thing that John Oliver did talking about cryptocurrency. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of No Like Tech. No Like Tech. No Like Tech. No Life Tech. No Like Tech, I said. No Life Tech. We'll catch you guys next.
No Life Teflon.
Week. No like Teflon. No like Teflon. Thank you, Doobie, for hanging in there with us. You were a great co-host. You did a great job today, buddy.
Anytime.
I'm glad fucking Dragon Ball Z Fighters is keeping you busy while we talk about important things.
I was watching the Sixers game.
Oh, sure you fucking were, bro. Who's winning?
Sixers won like 116 to like 96.
How many points does Embiid get?
I didn't catch it, but Ben Simmons' 9th triple-double.
You didn't catch the game, yet you were just watching the game.
I didn't catch how many points Embiid had. I was in and out.
Put down the fucking Dragon Ball Z Fighters, okay?
Hey, dude. That's a cool sports ball. All I know is you owe me a 3rd round pick, so.
But yo, Ben Simmons, legit Rookie of the Year. Let's go.
All right, we'll catch y'all next week. Bye-bye.